I took my mother to the hospital for a checkup and saw my husband's car in the parking lot. He should have been at work at this hour. A woman's intuition made me stop and find a place to quietly stake out. Sure enough, after a while, Chen Wei-hao gently led a woman over, holding her report card with care. The woman's abdomen was slightly bulging, and this was the maternity hospital. I took a deep breath to adjust my emotions, then rushed forward and turned on the phone's recording function. Chen Wei-hao was startled by my sudden appearance. "What are you doing here?" I tried to answer calmly. "I brought Mom for a checkup and saw your car." "What are you doing here?" he prevaricated, only protecting the woman. I got straight to the point. "Is she pregnant?" He didn't answer, and I repeatedly asked, "Is she pregnant? Is Grandma going to be a grandma?" He got annoyed. "What if she is?" I took the opportunity to snatch the lab report from his hand, put it in my bag, and covered it tightly. Chen Wei-hao looked angry. "Do you have to make such a scene? I'll call the police if you keep this up." Make such a scene? This is just the beginning. The real show has just begun. Then I pointed the camera at the woman. "Come on, let me see, is it a big sister or a little sister?" After all, judging by her figure and temperament, she doesn't look younger than me. The woman squatted on the ground, covering her face, looking pitiful. Chen Wei-hao couldn't bear to see his little white flower being wronged and roared at me. "What exactly do you want?" "I want to see what's so good about her that my husband is so infatuated with. I'll learn from her." Chen Wei-hao blurted out, "She's better than you in every way." My heart twinged with a sour feeling, but I still forced back my tears and continued to say to the woman who was tightly covering her face, "You know you can't show your face now? Where were you before?" Chen Wei-hao, a top investment bank partner known for his composure and calmness, was still provoked. "Why are you talking so loudly? Do you have to make such a scene? How shameless! A cheating man accusing his original wife of speaking too loudly to his mistress. I'll call the police if you keep this up. You brought a woman and made such a mess, and you still have the nerve to say that to me." I sneered inwardly. "Call them, hurry up and call them, I can't wait for the cops to come." Afraid that he wouldn't act, I signaled to my mother, "Mom, call the police now." Mom immediately made the call. Soon, the cops arrived. When taking notes, Chen Wei-hao remained silent when asked about his relationship with the woman. The woman looked at him with tears in her eyes, then looked at her bulging belly. Chen Wei-hao finally said slowly, "Boyfriend and girlfriend." Very good. With the video evidence from the public parking lot, plus a valid statement, the fact that Chen Wei-hao cheated has been confirmed. But this can only help me fight for a slightly larger share of property in my divorce case. It won't completely ruin this man financially or even his reputation. I don't want to see him arrogant, looking at me coldly as if he doesn't care. I want him to know exactly who he is. Back home, Chen Wei-hao kept a dark face. He sat on the sofa in the living room, silent for a while, then said, "Yilan, what you did today was pointless. You just want a bigger share of the property, right? What use are those videos you have? Staying at home all day, has watching short videos rusted your brain? You really think filming some videos of me and Yao Yao will help you gather evidence in court?" 10 years of marriage, his dissatisfaction and accusations towards me had long begun. Was it last year, or the year before, or even earlier? No matter what I did or how I communicated, it was all in vain. He just kept belittling me. I had already developed sophisticated coping skills. He said, and I listened. But without giving any expression. Nor any response. The calm, cold violence gradually made him lose control. Finally, this time he tore off his civilized facade and became hysterical. "Yilan, do you think doing this will make me change my mind? My love with Su Mengyao is not as fragile and narrow as you think. It can stand the test of time. Of course, I don't understand. If their love was really that solid, why were they silent for so long at the police station? As for the test of time, what test can my 10 years of relationship with him withstand? At that time, Chen Weihao was in agony due to work setbacks and betrayal by friends. I was the one who pulled him out of the mud. I used my family's connections to help him get a foot in the door at a top investment bank. At the wedding, he kissed my hand with tears in his eyes, saying that I was the light of his life, the woman he would cherish forever. Who would have thought that 10 years later, we would be like this? The more hysterical he became, the calmer I became. True disappointment never involves loud quarrels. Taking advantage of his quiet moment, I recorded the jump rope check-in video for my daughter. My daughter glanced at her father, who was glaring at the door, and said, "If you can be quiet for another 5 minutes, I'll record the English check-in video too, okay?" Chen Weihao was completely enraged. One old psycho, one little psycho. I've had enough of you. Yi Lan, you chased us to the hospital just because of money, right? I won't give it to you. You don't deserve to take my assets. I haven't been wasting my time all these years. My daughter looked at him deeply, with the same contemptuous look as if she were looking at a cockroach. Chen Weihao continued to yell, "Delete those videos as soon as possible, or you'll be sorry." A housewife, a bunch of ignorant netizens, what waves can you make? With that, he picked up his clothes and left without looking back. If the videos are useless, why are you so nervous and telling me to delete them? Threats are not a good way. Then I'll let it fly around on the internet for a bit. Sure enough, the video quickly attracted a lot of attention after it was posted. The topic of top investment bank Qingqing partner taking his mistress for a prenatal checkup, caught on the spot by his wife, sparked a discussion online for a while. You should know that Qingqing is a red circle investment bank, and it has even been on a Mango TV show. And in the show, Chen Weihua was famous for his loving husband persona. This slap in the face came unexpectedly. Hashtag Qingqing partner, hashtag cheating, hashtag 2+1, hashtag wife catches him. The hashtag instantly exploded on the internet. In the video, Chen Weihua's cold and arrogant words not only hurt my heart but also angered netizens with morals and conscience. They were calling on Qingqing to show its attitude in the comments and constantly denouncing Chen Weihua. Immediately, Chen Weihua couldn't sit still. He called when I had just sent the kids to school and returned home. Yi Lan, are you fucking sick? Don't wash your dirty linen in public, don't you know that? Think clearly, what good will it do you to mess with me? After listening to his roar, I replied indifferently, the way you're jumping around like a chicken with its head cut off is very pleasing to the eye. He was about to curse again, but I hung up the phone directly. Who wants to listen to your bullshit? The power of netizens is indeed strong. The company where Su Mengyao worked was quickly exposed, and Chen Weihua was under public opinion pressure from Qingqing. Helpless, Chen Weihua issued a statement online, saying that he had submitted his resignation as a partner to Qingqing and apologized to all family and friends. But he only left out me, the wife. He really hated me to the core. Hated me so much that he forgot what he used to be like. Chen Weihua's family background was average, but he was very hardworking, overcoming obstacles all the way to earn dual master's degrees from China and the US. But his major was finance. The capital market doesn't care about feelings, it's all about connections and money. I met Chen Weihua at a venture capital summit. At that time, his delicate appearance and eloquent demeanor immediately attracted my attention. As someone from a business family, I've seen my share of excellent men. My family had even arranged some potential matchmaking, but I always felt that marriage was a matter of fate. So, even with Chen Weihua, I wasn't overly proactive, just glanced at him a few more times in the crowd. But I didn't know that he had been watching me for a long time. At the summit, he greeted me warmly, and the atmosphere of our chat was like a spring breeze. I had a good impression of him and naturally exchanged contact information with each other. In every subsequent date, Chen Weihua performed flawlessly. I also thought I had found the perfect lover, so when he had difficulties entering the top investment bank, I didn't hesitate to use my family's connections to help him get the opportunity. He was also very caring and attentive to my family, which made the elders who didn't initially approve of us no longer object. Soon, we got married. The daughter of the Yi family and the rising talent, everyone saw them as a perfect match. After marriage, I was still busy with work, managing various relationships with ease. But Chen Weihao's career stagnated, and he couldn't find the right project. Seeing him frowning day by day, I coquettishly begged my dad to arrange a dinner with my uncle. My uncle is the chairman of Chinching Capital. He was the uncle who doted on me when I was little, and also a famous investor known for his strict professional requirements. Fortunately, Chen Weihao performed well and caught my uncle's eye, giving him a chance. For his first project, I turned down my own cases and helped him strategize in every way, finally winning a successful start. That night, he was so excited that his eyes were red, and he hugged me tightly. "Alan, you are my lucky star, I will be grateful to you for the rest of my life." I smiled and touched his hair. After the successful start, Chen Weihao took on more and more projects smoothly. With the help of our family connections, I managed to get him into a top investment bank as a partner at the young age of 30. For a time, Chen Weihao was in the limelight. Perhaps it was from that time that Chen Weihao started coming home late, no longer caring about me every day, and falling asleep as soon as he got home. I thought he was tired from work, so even for most of my prenatal checkups, my mom accompanied me. Seeing Chen Weihao accompanying another woman for a prenatal checkup today, being so considerate and caring, I couldn't help but feel ridiculous. I never saw him like this when I was pregnant with our daughter. So he wasn't busy, he was just busy with someone other than me. I never object to men pursuing their careers. I'm not a delicate little girl, and I don't like to bother others with things I can handle myself. But this gave others an opportunity. When our daughter was born, Chen Weihao wasn't even as excited as he was when he got promoted, which was a bit disappointing to me at the time. Then his mother's attitude towards the child left me speechless. After all, she was the child's grandmother. Before the birth, she was eager to come from his house to accompany me. But as soon as she saw it was a girl, the smile on her face immediately disappeared, and she went home disappointed. My daughter is the apple of my eye, and I couldn't help but feel a surge of anger. Seeing that my face was not right, Chen Weihao quickly comforted me, saying that his mother was just old-fashioned and always wanted a grandson, and she would understand after a while. I don't know what method he used, but in a few days, the old lady suddenly changed and became loving to my daughter, hugging and coaxing her. I didn't think much about it. It was only when my daughter Sui Sui was 2 years old that my cousin came to visit and joked, "Alan, you can have another one, just to keep Sui Sui company." As soon as she finished speaking, before I could answer, my mother-in-law nervously retorted, "No, one is enough. Consumption is so high in big cities now, Xiaowei is under a lot of pressure." My cousin stuck her tongue out at me, and I could only smile awkwardly. Logically, my family is not short of money. My income is not low, and Chen Weihao's annual salary is millions after becoming a partner. Even in Haicheng, it is more than enough to raise 2 children. But at that time, I was focused on my daughter and thought the old lady said that because she was worried about us taking care of the children. I realized things weren't so simple after the video controversy blew up online. My mother-in-law, knowing her son's job was affected, stormed into the house early in the morning. "Yi Lan, are you crazy? What kind of wife puts her own husband online? In our village, back in the day, you'd be drowned in a pig cage for this." I couldn't help but sneer, "Your son had an affair. Shouldn't your son and Su Mengyao be the ones drowned in a pig cage?" She continued shouting, completely unconcerned, "My son is successful. What's wrong with him finding a woman? Which rich man doesn't have multiple wives and concubines? Besides, you can't give birth to a son. It's only right for Xiao Wei to find a woman to carry on the family line. What do you have to be angry about?" Ha! I'm too embarrassed to even listen to what she's saying. Finding a mistress, what kind of family line is being carried on? What mistress? Yao Yao is much more sensible than you. I never liked your young lady airs, always being picky. If Xiao Wei hadn't persuaded me, I wouldn't have wanted you as my daughter-in-law. Yao Yao is diligent and understanding, always caring and attentive. That's what a daughter-in-law should be like. Look at you, all you do is read and research some broken projects. A housewife should be serving her husband, not reading books. Do you really think you're cut out for a career? If it weren't for my son supporting you, could you have such a delicate and comfortable life? See, people always speak their minds when they're desperate. I knew she had issues with me, but I didn't realize her resentment was so deep. I couldn't help but retort, "Who do you think is responsible for your son's current position?" My mother-in-law shouted as if it were obvious, "Of course it's our Xiao Wei who's amazing. He was always excellent in his studies. If he hadn't had a fever during the college entrance exam, he could have gotten into Tsinghua or Peking University. It's not shameful to have gone to a non-elite university, but I'm tired of hearing her use his fever during the college entrance exam as an excuse. Besides, I've never looked down on Chen Weihao's undergraduate degree. After all, he did eventually earn dual master's degrees from China and the US through his own efforts. Even before I met him, when he was repeatedly blocked from entering investment banks because his undergraduate degree wasn't impressive enough, I never mentioned it. When I helped him expand his network, I always tried to show people his excellent and hardworking side. Looking at my mother-in-law's arrogant appearance, I scoffed. Great, he's amazing. Then you can stay here and wait with him. My expression hardened, and my hand reached for the dog-repelling stick in the fitness area. She probably had never seen me angry before. The old lady instantly shut her mouth and scurried away. Some people, if you're always nice to them, they really think you're just a soft cat. The house was finally quiet. I stared at the pregnancy test report on the table. Su Mengyao, 34 years old, 3 weeks pregnant. How ridiculous! Aren't the kept women of domineering CEOs in novels all petite and lovely young girls? My husband's affair partner is actually 2 years older than me. If I lost to youth, it wouldn't be so cliché, but the other woman is 2 years older than me, which makes things rather strange. After all, Chen Weihao is also 2 years older than me, and his first love was also the same age as him, I heard. If they got back together in the last 2 years, then what Su Mengyao values is nothing more than the fame, fortune, and status that Chen Weihao possesses now, but if they have been lovers all along, then... I couldn't help but feel a chill run down my spine. This matter must be investigated thoroughly. Although I couldn't balance work and family after my daughter was born, and I temporarily became a full-time housewife under Chen Weihao's constant persuasion, I have been reading books and researching projects in my spare time. My brain hasn't shut down yet. Chen Weihao probably thought that I had long devoted myself to my child and had no time to care about other things, so he dared to be so presumptuous. The reason I asked my mother to call Uncle Hat to the scene that day was to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. On the one hand, Uncle Hat's statement proves that the two do have a lover relationship. On the other hand, everyone at the scene had to state their name and address, and I successfully got Su Mingyao's address. In the past few years, Chen Weihao often didn't come home at night. I vaguely knew that he had a woman outside, but he was very cunning and didn't reveal any traces. Whenever I asked, he would get annoyed and say I was making trouble out of nothing. Dumping the scumbag feels great, but getting divorced without clarity will only make me more depressed. I need to settle this account properly. The house we live in now was purchased with joint funds, and I paid 70% of the price. At that time, Chen Weihao wanted to write only his name. The reason was that I wouldn't have to run back and forth to the hall to go through the formalities, and my quota could be reserved for buying a house in the future. I disagreed and insisted on adding my name. Because of this, my mother-in-law was very unhappy at the time, but I stuck to my principles, and both our names were written on the property certificate. After becoming a partner, Chen Weihao's annual salary is 5 million, about 3.5 million after tax, and there are also company equity dividends every year. In good times, he can get 10 million. But he only transferred 100,000 to our family account every month, which is just over 1 million a year. Chen Weihao said that he knew how to invest, so he kept the large sums of money in his own hands, claiming that all the money earned from the investment would be for me and Sui. Now it seems that this is not the case. I hired a private investigator to stake out Su Mingyao's community. It was quickly found out that Su Mingyao's residence, 701 in Xingshi, is a 200 square meter apartment. In this location and with this community configuration, it would cost at least 7 or 8 million, which is far beyond what her salary can afford. Not only that, Su Mingyao actually has 2 such apartments, and they are next door. Su Mingyao can enter and exit the 2 houses at will, very freely. Indeed, Chen Weihao can buy such an apartment in a year with his annual salary plus equity dividends. But he usually doesn't spend money extravagantly, and he educates his daughter to develop a habit of saving, but he didn't expect to be so generous when buying luxury houses. It seems that this is the investment he was talking about. Then I have to see where all the money from my family has been spent. It just so happens that my best friend has an apartment in Xingshi. But she doesn't live there often. So, following her, I successfully entered the community and came to 701. The doorbell rang, and the door opened to reveal a languid and contented Su Mingyao. The instant she saw me, she was taken aback. "You. What are you doing here?" Taking her by surprise, I shoved her aside and walked straight into the house, just checking to see if my money is being spent wisely. TSK, this decor, this style, the rows of luxury shoes and bags in the walk-in closet. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I couldn't have imagined that my country bumpkin husband could buy these things. I have to take pictures for posterity, to give my vast online audience a glimpse of Lao San's extravagant life. Even the coffee table was casually piled with stacks of high-end bird's nest gift boxes. I picked one up at random. "You're raising the kept woman well, I see." Su Mingyao's face turned red with anger, and she shouted, "What do you think you're doing? Wei doesn't love you at all. Don't be so arrogant, you'll be kicked out of the house sooner or later." I chuckled and smashed a can of bird's nest on the floor. "Let him try kicking me out then. What's the rush? Are you afraid I'll make you spit out everything you've swallowed?" Just as she was about to say something, the door next door opened, and it was my mother-in-law. "Yi Lan, don't touch Yao Yao, she's pregnant." Looking at how concerned my mother-in-law was about Su Mingyao, you'd think they were the family. But I haven't even touched her. What is this old woman doing, grabbing my arm? I was about to pull away when she suddenly fell to the ground on her own. "Yi Lan, you actually hit my mom." I have to say, Chen Weihao arrived just in time. The 3 of them stood together, a loving family, and I looked like the bad guy who was ruining their family. I waved my phone. "I've been recording the whole time, I didn't lay a finger on the old woman." "Chen Weihao, let's talk about this house and everything in it. How much of my money did it cost?" He was calm and collected, clearly prepared with an answer. "I didn't buy this, my parents bought it and gave it to Yao Yao." I pointed to the Pradas, Chanels, and crying sisters. "Your mom's taste is so fashionable now?" Chen Weihao was smug. "That's because Yao Yao is so thoughtful, she goes shopping with mom every day, unlike you who only think of yourself." These are all mom's rewards for her. My mother-in-law immediately chimed in, that's right, I gave her these birds' nests too. Yao Yao is pregnant, I can't let my precious grandson suffer, she needs more nutrition. Although I was already riddled with holes, hearing these words still made my heart bleed. My poor daughter, she didn't get anything back then. It's okay, Mom will get it all back for you. I smiled and looked at Chinwei Hao. Do you think everyone else is stupid? A house worth millions, can a country old woman buy 2 of them? Bags worth tens of thousands, can an old woman buy a whole wall of them? My expression changed. Anyone with eyes can see that these were all bought with my family property, don't try to deny it. The old woman panicked, afraid of getting her son into trouble, and quickly ran into the next room. In a little while, she came out holding a cookie box, saying proudly, of course I bought them. Look, I've kept all the receipts. Chinwei Hao's face turned pale, and he immediately reached for it. How could I let him? I rushed over and grabbed the box in my arms before he could. Old lady, you truly are my dear mother-in-law, thank you. I was racking my brains trying to find evidence, and you delivered it right to my door. Perfect. Grateful that my mother-in-law has the good habit of keeping accounts and receipts, covering everything from clothes, shoes, bags to bird's nest, milk powder, and prenatal checkup fees. And, most importantly, 2 red booklets. The house clearly had my in-laws' names on it. Next, I checked the transfer records between Chinwei Hao and his parents, and the evidence of assets was gradually perfected. I immediately reported the progress to my lawyer best friend, who couldn't help but give me a thumbs up. Girl, you're amazing. If everyone was like you, so many women wouldn't suffer. Now, the assets Chinwei Hao has transferred will be included in your property division. I still had a question, what if he's committed bigamy? My best friend frowned. Based on the current evidence, it's difficult to determine if he's committed bigamy. Only long-term cohabitation counts as bigamy. But this evidence is too difficult to define. I nodded and updated my account. That room full of luxury goods also opened the eyes of netizens. As soon as I got home, my parents' video call came through. Lon, I'm so anxious, what's going on? You won't let us get involved. I smiled at them, it's almost handled, trust your daughter's ability. My dad still had that calm look on his face. Lon, your parents will always be your support. I understood what my dad meant. I would definitely ask for his help when the time came. After hanging up the video, I took a sip of water, feeling like something wasn't right. Recalling the familiar appearance of Chinwei Hao, my mother-in-law, and Su Mengyao, it wasn't just a year or 2 of interaction, that state was even more like a family than I was. It was the kind of family atmosphere that couldn't be developed without 8 or 10 years of getting along. Chinwei Hao's previous relationships, he didn't want to talk about them, and I didn't ask. Who doesn't have a past? I used to foolishly think that trust was the foundation of marriage, but in the end, I was the only one who trusted. I ran madly to every room, looking for Chinwei Hao's treasured graduation album. He locked it in the drawer of his study. I took a hammer and smashed it open directly. In addition to the album, there was also a wedding ring in the drawer. It looked familiar, but it wasn't our style. Where had I seen it? Right, on Su Mingyao's hand. Then I opened the album, which was full of his college classmates. But there were a few pages that were particularly thick. I pulled them out one by one, and each one had intimate photos of 2 young people. The 2 people in the photos, childhood sweethearts, were in love, Chinwei Hao and Su Mengyao. I sat on the floor and laughed, then cried, crying heartbrokenly. For the me who had given so much, and for the me who was so stupid. My phone kept ringing, it was a video message. Reality is indeed more dramatic than TV series. A netizen left a message with shocking news, oh my god. Aren't these 2 a couple? They live right across from me. They go in and out together every day, chatting and laughing, looking like a loving couple. She's the mistress? I even talked to the woman. She was dressed so smartly, and the bags she bought were all the latest models. I couldn't help but ask her about the resale market, haha. No wonder she's always covered in luxury goods. She doesn't feel the pain when she's not spending her own money. I contacted several enthusiastic netizens, 2 of whom happened to have cameras installed at their doors, which completely recorded Chen Weihao and Su Mingyao's daily comings and goings over a long period of time. I copied a file. When I pieced together the complete timeline, Chen Weihao and Su Mingyao had been together for 12 years, while I had only been married to him for 10. This is just a joke. So they are the loving couple. I'm just the ladder Chen Weihao used to climb higher. At this moment, I feel ice cold all over. I can't wait to tear Chen Weihao apart. I also hate myself for being so stupid back then, stubbornly ignoring my parents' arrangements and becoming a stepping stone for I'm so angry that I can't stop trembling. I slapped myself to try to calm down. I shakily walked to the counter and poured myself a cup of hot water, wanting to warm up. But the phone rang again. I answered, and it was the nanny's flustered voice, Alon, sway sway. Sway sway is gone. The cup in my hand fell and spilled hot water all over the floor. I didn't care about anything and rushed out, slipping on my shoes, not caring about the bloodstains from the shards of glass cutting my feet. I went downstairs and found the nanny, who looked apologetic. Alon, I'm sorry. Sway Sway said she wanted to play hide-and-seek with the children. I was watching her at first, but she disappeared while I was answering a phone call. What should we do? I'm in big trouble now. Aunt Wang started crying anxiously. She is someone the family is used to using, so she shouldn't be playing tricks. I contacted the property management to retrieve the surveillance footage while confirming the time of disappearance with Aunt Wang. How long has it been since you couldn't find Sway Sway? More than 10 minutes. The property management also immediately pulled up the surveillance footage. Sway Sway was hopping and skipping in the frame the whole time, but the last time she ran, it was right at the blind spot of the surveillance, and she didn't appear again. My heart couldn't help but clench. I quickly called my parents, Mom and Dad. Did Sway Sway contact you this afternoon? My parents looked nervous. No, what's wrong? I couldn't help but cry. Sway Sway is gone. Sob sob sob. Baby, don't worry, we're coming over right away. A few minutes later, my parents arrived. My mother hugged me tightly and quickly grabbed a band-aid to treat the wound on my foot. Baby, don't worry. Your dad has already made arrangements. Don't worry yourself sick. The property management was also searching everywhere in the community. I also kept calling Sway Sway's phone watch, but it was turned off. I was pacing anxiously when Chen Weihao called. But it was Sway Sway's voice on the other end. Mom, I'll be home in a little while. I quickly asked, Sway Sway, tell Mom, are you okay now? I'm fine, Mom, I just fell asleep on the bus because I was a little tired. I was furious and shouted at Chen Weihao, bring Sway Sway back to me. The phone was hung up, and a message came through. Alan, that feeling of panic isn't good, is it? Always leave room for maneuver. Destroy the receipt video, and I'm willing to split the money in the accounts with you. Let's part on good terms. I knew Chen Weihao was shrewd and calculating, but I didn't expect him to use his own daughter. Since Sway Sway was involved, I had to be careful. Dad took my phone, glanced at it, and put it back in my hand. Then he picked up his own phone and made a call. Second brother, family meeting tonight. Looking at Sway Sway sleeping soundly in bed, I felt a wave of lingering fear. Luckily, she was just tired from playing and fell asleep. Luckily, she thought Dad was taking her out to play. Luckily, she didn't know that the father-daughter meeting that afternoon was a transaction. Sui Sui is still so young, I can't let her be hurt anymore. Originally, I didn't want to push things too far, but Chinwei Hao, you forced my hand. At the family meeting that night, Dad directly showed my uncle the threatening message Chinwei Hao sent on my phone. Second brother, even tigers don't eat their cubs. Chinwei Hao, I misjudged him after all. My uncle's face changed when he saw the message. Although he was decisive, he valued character, especially in those close to him. Big brother, Chinwei Hao has been quietly paving the way for himself, that's why he's so confident. Originally, for Alan's sake, I was going to turn a blind eye. Now it seems that the offering he's giving to the competitor company is more than just a little bit. With that, he instructed his assistant to strictly investigate every aspect of several major projects in the company. I stood up and offered my uncle tea in lieu of alcohol. Uncle, I've caused you trouble. He still used his usual elder's tone, we're family, no need to be so formal. 3 days later, Chinwei Hao returned in a hurry. Changing his usual cold face, he rushed up to me, wife, you have to help me this time. I was blinded by greed before, and I let you down. I'll definitely change in the future. Will you give me another chance? I shook my head, I gave you 10 years of chances, and you missed them all. He slumped to the ground, looking dejected. He was a far cry from the arrogant and invincible CEO of a few days ago. I was stunned when I learned the truth. Chinwei Hao had planned everything. The family's assets had been transferred by almost 80%. As for work, he was planning to divorce me and join another top investment bank, Ruilin, Qinxing's competitor. His offering was Qinxing's 7-year-old client, a project involving 200 million. In his position, doing his job, leaking commercial secrets, once that spreads in the industry, no investment bank would dare to hire him again. I always thought Chinwei Hua just didn't love this family, but I didn't know his ambition was so great, and even more that he could be unscrupulous to achieve his goals. If Uncle had been a step slower, this project would have belonged to Ruilin. At that time, Chinwei Hua would be Ruilin's new partner, with higher salary and equity than now. As for his online scandals, not many people in the circle care, and he would still be living a prosperous life. No wonder he was so dismissive before. It's just that being too clever can be self-defeating, no one is a pushover. The next day, Chinwei Hua came to me again, Alon, I agreed to leave with nothing. Our house, car, the 2 houses in Shangshijayuan, and the funds are all yours. I'll reimburse all the money spent on Su Mengyao with receipts. Just one condition, please plead with Uncle for me, let me off once, and don't publicly disclose the secrets in the circle. I pondered for a long time and agreed to him. Chinwei Hua, I'm not doing this for you, but for our daughter. He cried, not knowing if it was out of guilt or fear. Soon, we signed the divorce agreement. Without dispute, Chinwei Hua left with nothing, and I got custody of our daughter, Sui Sui. A month later, I successfully obtained the divorce certificate. I entrusted an agency to sell both houses in Shangshijayuan. Adding the funds and reimbursements, my bank account had nearly 30 million more. Chinwei Hua left Qinxing. Without a welcome gift, he couldn't get into Ruilin. He joined a second-tier investment bank, and the salary and benefits were far worse than before. Su Mengyao was fired by the company as soon as the online public opinion fermented, and she has been at home taking care of herself and waiting to give birth. The two moved into Chinwei Hua's parents' small house, which can be regarded as fulfilling their wish, lovers finally getting married. However, as the saying goes, poverty-stricken couples are beset by many sorrows. Chinwei Hua was frustrated in the new company and no longer had the mood to accompany Su Mengyao to high-end restaurants for candlelight dinners, and could no longer buy her luxury goods every day. Su Mengyao couldn't stand it and made trouble with him every day. why did you give all the money to Elon? Am I only worthy of living a hard life with you? You keep saying you want to treat us mother and son well, but will our child be born in this broken house in the future? Chen Weihua couldn't bear it. Yao Yao, where has your virtuous appearance from the past gone? To be honest, although Yilan comes from a wealthy family, she can't buy as much as you. You should learn from her in this regard and improve your inner self more. This was like a lit fuse, and Su Mengyao slapped him in the face. The mother-in-law became anxious. Su Mengyao, how can you hit my son? I'm hitting your son. Su Mengyao pushed the old lady away, and the old lady stumbled and squatted on the ground, knocking over the old man next to her. Su Mengyao, you've gone too far. Chen Weihua shouted and started to fight, and the two wrestled together. Suddenly, Su Mengyao slipped and fell down the stairs, bleeding profusely. The old lady screamed. Her eldest grandson was gone. After Su Mengyao was discharged from the hospital, she and Chen Weihua loathed each other, and she found another rich man and ran away. So, this is what true love amounts to. Chen Weihua was absent-minded at work, made repeated mistakes, and was fired by the company. When I saw him again, he was unshaven and almost unrecognizable. He looked at me and knelt down with a thud. Lon Lon, I'm sorry. I know I was wrong, I regret it, and now only you can save me. Even for our daughter's sake, please give me another chance to redeem myself, okay? I looked at our daughter playing happily not far away. You don't have a chance with me. Be a good person from now on. For the first time, he looked at his daughter with such deep affection, then left in despair. Later, I heard that Chen Weihua jumped from company to company, barely managing to find work. Then, his elderly mother was seriously ill and hospitalized, and he spent his days running between work and the hospital, completely lifeless. People he had offended in the past couldn't wait to kick him while he was down. Chen Weihua, only in his 30s, was already covered in white hair, as if he had aged 20 years. As for Su Mengyao, the sugar daddy she found wasn't reliable. The original wife brought people to her door and beat her black and blue, leaving her unable to crawl on the ground. She stayed in the hospital for a month before being discharged. After being discharged, her eyes were vacant, and she no longer had her former charm and grace. She was like a rat crossing the street, hated by everyone. To make a living, she found a cleaning job, wearing a mask every day for fear of being recognized. But all of this has nothing to do with me anymore. I have already started helping my parents manage the company, and I am doing very well. From time to time, my bestie and I wrap ourselves in tight dresses, dress up as two beautiful old vixens, and go out to strut our stuff. And now, taking advantage of my vacation, I brought Sui Sui and my parents to the beach for a holiday. The scenery is beautiful, the road ahead is clear, and my wonderful life is still waiting for me.